But in brief then, again, church, this is the king here. He's talking about and talking to those in his kingdom. That's how we should read and apply all of this. Which I know, slowing down for a second, that may sound like a lot or just some heady technicality. But when you think about it, this actually does matter a lot for you and me. For you and me in how we read and apply all of Jesus' teachings. Because thinking about it like this, that means that as we read the Sermon on the Mount, we can't read it and read the morality in here and think that Jesus is giving us things we must do to rule our own lives or especially to save ourselves. Jesus isn't doing that. And that's important for us to point out because the reality is, often people, and especially religious people, do tend to read the Sermon on the Mount like that. They see Jesus giving these instructions, and they therefore assume that his instructions are here telling us how we have to merit our way into heaven or earn our salvation. Because that's just typical religion 101. That's how we think. But that's just not the case. Rather, think about it. Jesus knows he's the king. He knows that he's the Savior. And that means, in terms of how we get into the kingdom, the gospel's still true. We rely on Jesus and what he did alone, as he's the Savior King. And yet, it's also true that if we are saved in the gospel, meaning if we trust and love this king, and if we're in his kingdom, then we will want to follow him more. And in short, that's then how we should read this in all of Jesus' teachings. This is our king. And we want to follow him and obey him the best we can. But why? Well, not to earn our way into the kingdom. We aren't our own saviors. He's the Savior. But instead, because we are saved by the king, because we love the king, because we love his ways, and because we want to live even more in step with the kingdom. And not only that, but we want our world to live more in step with the kingdom, which is why we spread Jesus' gospel and his teachings. And it's why one of the things that our king taught us to pray is, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it's already done in heaven. And so, church, that's our first section in introducing the Sermon on the Mount. In summary, this is our king, mainly talking to those who know him and are already in his kingdom about his kingdom. And now that doesn't mean that people not in his kingdom weren't listening back then. They were, of course. And he knows that. And still today, people who aren't in Jesus' kingdom can hear Jesus' teachings and learn some things from Jesus. But still, above all, one last time, this is the Messiah, Savior, King talking about and talking to those in his kingdom. Which, if we do trust in Jesus in his gospel, church, that is you and me.